Let me tell you something that confuses me every single summer. You'll see a boat full of people out on the lake, out on the river, nobody, not one of them wearing a life jacket. And if one person reaches for one, somebody laughs. What, you can't swim? I've been that person. I'm going to tell you why I stopped being embarrassed about it. I'm not a strong swimmer. I'll just say it. My childhood lessons failed. They put a whole class of kids in a pool and expected us to come out swimmers in under a week. Summer camp wasn't any longer. I had a pool in my own backyard in Arizona that I was scared of. Now, part of that was due to panic attacks from being abused, but that's another story. Anyway, my boyfriend, of all people, was the one who taught me to dive and drown proof in my 20s. And I finally started getting it in my 40s. I took lessons. I was actually good. And then my husband got sick, and the lessons were the first thing to go. You don't lose skills you never fully had. You just quietly let go of them. So when family came to visit and we went tubing on the river, I wore a life jacket. When we went boating with my husband's family, I wore one. I even bought extras for everybody else. And more often than not, I was the only one wearing one. And somebody always had a comment. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Being a good swimmer does not stop you from drowning. Let me give you the numbers because this isn't a feeling. The U.S. Coast Guard puts out a report every year. In 2024, and this was actually their safest year in 5 decades, where they knew the cause of death, about 3 out of 4 people who died in boating accidents drowned. And of the people who drowned and whose life jacket use was known, 87% weren't wearing one. 87%. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. There's a grim shorthand among water rescue people. If the news says a dive team has been called to the scene, that usually means the victim wasn't wearing a flotation device. Because the ones who were, they're floating. They get found on the surface. You don't send divers for them. Now, but I'm a strong swimmer. I hear it. One frequently cited study out of the UK found that a majority of drowning victims were actually strong swimmers. And most of them went under within a few meters of safety. Close enough to touch the dock. Close enough to grab the boat. How does that happen? 2 ways. And they have names. The first is cold water shock. And here's the counterintuitive part. It's got nothing to do with how well you swim. You hit cold water, your body involuntarily gasps. A huge, sharp breath you cannot stop. If your head is under when it happens, you inhale water. Then comes hyperventilation, rapid, out-of-control breathing you also can't control. In one study, people's breath hold time in cold water dropped from around 45 seconds to under 10. One person dropped to a fraction of a second. And cold isn't Arctic. Water under about 60 degrees can do that. That's most lakes and rivers for a good chunk of the year, even on a hot day, even when the air is warm. Swimming even 6 to 10 feet while your body is doing all of this is often impossible for anyone, Olympic medalists included. The second thing is that drowning doesn't look like drowning. We all think we know what it looks like, splashing, the waving, yelling for help. That's television. A retired Coast Guard rescue swimmer named Mario Vitone has spent years trying to correct this. Real drowning is almost completely silent. People can't call out because their body is busy trying to breathe. And breathing wins over speech every time. No waving, their arms are pressed down on the water just trying to get their mouth up to the surface. From a few feet away, it can look like someone calmly bobbing. He cites a number that should stop you cold. Of the children who drown each year, a large share do it within sight of an adult. And in roughly 1 in 10 cases, an adult watches it happen and has no idea. So let's go back to that boat, the one where I'm the only one wearing the jacket and somebody's smirking. The logic is exactly backwards. The life jacket isn't an admission that you can't swim. It's an admission that you understand what water actually does. It keeps your face up while your body is gasping and you've lost control of your own breathing. It keeps you on the surface so you get found, not dredged. The strongest swimmer on that boat and I are in the same water. The difference is I'm wearing the thing that floats. I'm not embarrassed anymore. I just look at the people laughing and I think, you learned what drowning looks like from a movie. I learned it from the numbers. Put on the jacket. Let them laugh. The river was never grading you on style.